Hi, everybody. This is Rose Odette with the Michigan Innovation Podcast. And we have with us today Brayton Farr from Traverse City. Really excited to meet Brayton today. And I met him at Oops in Traverse City, the Office of Possibilities. How are you doing today, Brayton?
Doing really well.
Good.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so good to have you
Yeah.
here.
Glad to be here.
Yeah.
Beautiful day for a drive down.
Yeah, really, really happy to
Yeah.
have another member of Oops on the podcast this morning. Traverse City is so vibrant.
Yeah.
So much is happening in
It's
Traverse
growing
City
so
these
much.
days.
Yeah. It's pretty wild.
And we really do have that in common all over Northern Michigan, Cadillac as well. I know you have a lot of business in Cadillac as well.
Yeah.
So it's and other parts of the Northern
Yeah.
Michigan. You
Yeah.
really are.
I try to branch out
You
everywhere.
do. You have a lot
Yeah.
going on, and let's just get right into it.
Yeah.
So, Brayden, uh, first thing I like to do is just find out a little bit more about you, Brayden,
Yeah.
and tell us about your experiences in Traverse City and where did you grow up? I know you're from
Yeah.
here
Yeah.
originally.
Yeah. Yeah. So Brayton Farr, I actually am from Northport, which is in Leelanau County. So I'm seventh generation Leelanau County, mostly in Northport. So roots going back 7 generations there. I left for a little while to go to college. I went down to Grand Valley and right after high school in Northport, and then ended up staying down there for almost 10 years. I bought my first house when I was 21 and had a job and a house lined up. So I moved back about 5 years ago because I really missed the community and I'd come up all the time. It's hard to get away from the beach. I turned down U of M and Michigan State to go to Grand Valley just frankly because it was close to the beach.
Yeah,
And
you
the
love
school's
Lake
great.
Michigan,
I
don't you?
do. I
Yes.
love the beach and Lake Michigan, and that's home.
7 generations. Tell us a little bit more about that. That's
Yeah.
unique. We've got so many wonderful new people that are coming up from the area. But 7 generations, that's a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Came right over from Norway and England. And yeah, my family, we had ice shanties, we had some fishing, and then my, what would she have been? Great great grandma ran the village. So the village office is actually in my grandparents' house today. In the front, in the parlor, we call it now, but their house, it's been in the family for, I think, 160 some years now. And it used to be the village office back in the day, and it's pretty cool. A lot of cool history.
so cool. I had no idea,
Yeah.
Brayden. That is so unique. I claim my great grandparents were cooks in the lumber camps in
Wow.
Cadillac. So I don't go back as far as you do, but we do have some deep connection in northern Michigan.
Yeah.
But I do love all the new blood we're getting up here. It's isn't it? We've
Yeah.
got a lot of great movers and shakers in the area. And so I want to start out with your entrepreneurial and innovative spark. When I first met you, I was so excited to hear about Solutions by Far, which
Yeah.
is such a cool name,
Yeah.
Solutions by
Thanks.
Far.
Yeah.
I love it. I love something clever like that that has sort of a double meaning.
Yeah.
So tell us, how did you had that idea?
Yeah. So it's interesting. It's hard to sum up who I am and what I do. In the last couple of weeks, I've been called a connector of people. I was called a unicorn the other day, so that's
Oh,
unique.
that's
So I'm
good.
like, hey, I'll take it.
Yeah, take that.
So, I kind of took all my ideas and everything I'm interested in, and I'm like, how can I help others and create something and kind of bundle it all together and get it out there and also monetize it a little bit. So I created Solutions by Far, which it's business strategy, business solutions. I'm not a business coach. I'm not, didn't do any coaching training. I'm not a sales leader, trainer. It's more so I noticed there was a missing link with the individuals. So maybe the entrepreneurs or the solopreneurs or maybe a partnership and the 1-2 people companies, that there's a real gap there on how to set up like a personal email and a professional email and how to do a calendar and how to do an appointment scheduler. And then if you Google it, it's a very overwhelming because you have 50 different ads first off that say buy me, buy me, buy me.
Yeah.
And that you say, oh, that's going to be great. Then you add up the cost and you're like, holy moly, I just started my business.
And then it's still all on your back.
And it's still on your back. Yeah, there's no training. There's no help. There's no, and yes, they have reviews and recommendations and everything, but they're not like people. So I thought there's got to be a better way. So personally in my life, I take everything I'm a part of and organize it as best I can. And I'm like, I can help other people do the same thing. I've been using Google Calendar since I was in college and had all of my classes on there, my professors, the location, and had everything booked out and knew where to go, where to be. And it was great. And I just have used that ever since. And it really helps me stay organized. And I'm like, I can help others do that. And there's not really an extra cost. I try to look at what they're already using and
Mhm.
say, hey, did you know Google Workspace or Microsoft actually has appointment scheduler built in? You don't have to pay for one of these other companies that cost maybe $30 a month, which doesn't seem like a lot, but to a startup or an entrepreneur, $30 a month
Oh,
is a good
and it
chunk of
is a
change.
lot. You know,
Yeah.
prior to starting my own company, I worked for IBM Corp, and my job was a systems engineer. And to be honest with you, Brayton, that's what I would do majority of my time. I would go out to clients and help them use the software they already own.
Yeah.
So I would help them. Like we used Office Vision was the name of the product on the mainframe, and I would do just that. Help them set up their calendars. Help them use the products that they already own and really add value. And so I, at a very deep level, can relate to what you found to do here. And the other thing is that it's so tactical and so practical. It's something that, the other things that you mentioned, it's a lot going on upstairs in the head and like with coaching or that kind of thing. But really 80% of our day is tactical. We're
Yeah.
tacticians trying to get things done. So I'm sure that's why Solutions by Far has been so successful,
Yeah.
and I think that that is really really amazing.
Yeah.
But I do also know that you work in other areas
I
as
do.
well, and
Yeah.
I think that where I'd like to take this is how do you really, once you've done the Solutions by Far, I know that you work with the chamber and
Yeah.
the Leelanau
Yeah.
chamber. And
Mhm.
could you help us understand? And I think that gets back to your heart,
It does.
gets back
Definitely.
to your history.
Yep. Yep.
So what
Yeah.
do you do for them?
Yeah, so that was the best part of moving back. I jumped right in. Unfortunately, fortunately, it was 2019, so it gave me a nice solid year to jump back in and get really involved. And then, of course, COVID hit and things went online and things really shook up a lot. But I was able to reroute myself, get involved. So I'm actually a part of two full-time jobs. So I have the Home Builders Association. I'm the director of events and member engagement, and then I'm also a residential mortgage lender with Genisys Mortgage, which ties in really well with Solutions by Far because often my clients are business owners or they are the builder members and they're trying to figure out, I'm a horrible carpenter, but I'm really good with technology. And for that builder that's like, I don't know how to have my custom email. How do I do that? I'm like, oh, I can show you that. Super easy. And I'm like, you don't want me to put your flooring in or build your house because I can't do that, but I can help you in the ways that I'm good with. So yeah, I'm actually part of 11 other organizations as a volunteer as well. So I'm the president of the Leelanau County Chamber, and I really enjoy giving back and connecting people. And Will Kitchen was actually the one that called me the connector of people, and I was like, oh, it really lit up when he said that. And I'm like,
Yes, that's
it's
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
really cool because I'm like, huh, I've never thought of myself that way. And I had somebody else mention that to me a while back, and I'm like, that's really what I enjoy.
Mm.
Growing up in Northport, my family had a mechanical contracting company, and so my grandpa and uncle and family knew everyone. And I went out to the shop and I was pulling apart wires and whatever and their scrap wire as a kid, but then also watching their clients come in and seeing how we knew everyone when we went everywhere. And I loved that connection piece. And I had it a little bit in Grand Rapids and in college, but not the community and the tight knit community we have up here. So that's why I wanted to come home and really jump back in and help connect people. That's
That
really
that
my
is
passion.
that is so rare and it is so important. And you really do connect people. And I love hearing the history of your family being in a small business and you rolled up your sleeves and you were right there with them. And now you're back to not only help the family but help your community and lead, the president of the Leelanau Chamber. And that all of those things take a lot of time.
Yes.
And so, but I see you have an extra amount of energy. You really seem to have a lot to offer.
It really fuels me. That's the magic. I've been asked over the years, how do you do it? I'm like, to me, it doesn't feel like I'm doing anything. I'm just doing what I enjoy, and that's where it's awesome. It fuels me. I love the people, and that's what was really hard in 2020 and 21 is
Yeah.
I was online and virtual and emailing and phone calls, but I missed that people aspect.
Yeah.
Like Rose, you and I grabbed coffee, sat
Yeah.
and talked. I mean, I lost track of how many hours we
Oh,
were
we
talking.
we
It was so
had
wild,
such a great
but it
time
was
that
awesome.
day.
I
Oh, I
love
know.
that.
I
That's the
did too.
best.
We
And
really, really hit it off, and
yeah,
we have so many different ways to connect. And
yeah,
I think that one of the things I thought was fascinating is how you are able to bring all these associated organizations together and really tie it together. And I'm looking forward to the event you brought up, that you're having a big event for the Home Builders Association
yeah,
coming up in the next couple of months. Could you
yeah.
tell us a little bit about your event?
Yeah, so August 22nd, we have a golf tournament, and it's one of our biggest events. I think this may be our biggest golf tournament we've had. We plan on having 60 teams, and we had to push it to 72 teams and 288 golfers. So
What?
it's August 22nd. We have both courses at Crystal Mountain booked all day for us. We've got, lunch in the middle, we've got a little dinner at the end, and just the networking piece is huge. And I've really tried to bring all of the organizations I'm a part of together. Most of it has a lot to do with housing and workforce and everybody just coming together. And that's what I love about the HBA is that aspect. So I'm trying to bring in volunteers from other groups, maybe new members that want to join the HBA and get everybody together. But yeah, it's going to be a huge event.
It
I,
sounds like that is a job that was tailor-made for you because of your ability to connect with people. And that's exactly what the Home Builders Association needs is connection. People need people. You buy a house, you sell a house.
yeah,
You build a house, you have construction. You need a mortgage. It all comes
it all
together.
comes together.
It all comes
It does.
together. And I think that's just so beautiful.
Yeah.
So when you do the mortgages, how does that relate to some of the other things? I
Yeah.
think that it may, is there any, do you ever have any sleepless nights over how to get all of those puzzle pieces and the hoops in the right spot?
Not really. I try to stay as organized as I can and have everything really well laid out. Every event that I go to or that I'm a part of, that the group, I make sure it kind of tailors in together. And there's a lot more overlap than people realize. That's kind of the magic key, that there's a lot of overlap. So I like to just jump in and, I as far as the sleepless nights go, no, the economy is always a concern and mortgage rates are a roller coaster. Everybody's
Right.
like, I don't know. And of course, we've got a little bit of a housing shortage. We're behind even in Cadillac down here,
Yep.
all of northern Michigan. There's just not a lot for sale.
Mm.
So that's tough. It's sometimes disheartening for the first time home buyer to, look at 15 houses, but eventually they get that offer. And tomorrow I'm closing on a client. I've known her for probably 4 years, met her through Traverse City Young Professionals, and they're buying their first house. And I love it. It's so
Oh, house
awesome.
celebration.
It's so cool.
That's so nice
Yeah.
to have bring somebody
Yeah.
to that place. So wow, I think that is so great. And I know you have another event coming up at the
Yeah.
Grand Traverse Resort.
Yeah, so we have our home expo. That's going to be in February.
Oh, it's
So,
February.
yep,
Okay.
that's going to be a little ways out, but that one you can register now. We've got booths available. So, the home expo takes place at the Grand Traverse Resort. We have the entire lower level this year. We
Hmm.
added an additional 25 booths and a cash and carry area. So, that's really cool. Exhibitors can have a booth. Some of them have, we have asphalt construction company that brings in their equipment and shows that off. We've got a roofing company that brings their like jack that raises up. It's a dump trailer that goes up to the roof level so they can easily load it up, but they have that in there.
That
It's
has
so
to be a
cool.
logistic nightmare.
It'll be my first time running it, but I've been either a volunteer or had a booth myself the past 5 years. So I kind of know what it's like. I've always helped with load in, load out the past 5 years. So I kind of know it all works out really well. And again, it's just that
And what a
group of people
beautiful
that come
venue.
together.
I
Oh,
mean,
the venue's
you've
great.
got this great venue. Crystal Mountain is a beautiful
Oh, it's
venue,
so beautiful.
and you also now Grand Traverse Resort. What a beautiful venue! That is one of the neatest things about being in Northern Michigan. We have so many really beautiful venues and
Yeah,
beautiful places to hold these uh, events
yeah,
that are critical for us all to get together
yeah,
and do the things. So I
yeah.
also know that you work with Sutton's Bay.
Yeah, I'm on the board of the Sutton Bay Chamber as well. So I have been on the board the entire time since I've been back, but I jumped right in there as well. and I've been on the board for
And
I
what
think
a
3 or
pretty
4
little,
years.
what a
Oh, it's
pretty
so cool.
area too.
Yeah,
It's just so beautiful.
and they have some really fun events. Like they have a Yeti Fest that's in February as well, and that's really fun. They've got art and wine walks twice a year, and there's just so many cool events that take
And do they
place.
still have the jazz?
They have postponed that. Last year, they did a tribute to one of the founders of it who had passed
Okay.
away.
Okay.
So they kind of brought it back. It wasn't chamber led, but we supported it.
Mm-hmm.
But they're trying to bring some type of music back. So
That
yeah,
would be
we're working
good.
on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's important. We really miss that music. And
yeah.
so tell me a little bit more about Traverse City Young Professionals.
Oh yeah.
You're the first one I've met that's brought that
Oh
up. Can you give us a little bit of a
yeah.
deeper dive into the Traverse City Young Professionals?
Yeah, so it's another arm of Travers Connect. So it's young professionals. They have a coffee connect once a month on Thursday mornings. They have a evening meetup, they call it now, and it's just kind of a networking, and they give a little update on what's going on. But that's been awesome, and it's really cool. They call it young professionals, but there's no age cap. So a lot of people are like, oh, I'm too old for that. There's no too old for it. There's no
Okay.
age cap.
Aren't we all
So
young at heart?
exactly. So everybody comes out, but that's been a really cool group. I've met a lot of good friends from it. I've met a lot of clients from it. It's been really cool. And there's an event coming up later this month. That's one of their meetups. And yeah, they're really cool. It's a good group of people, and they come together. The Thursday mornings, they have a speaker come in and give
Where do
an
they,
update.
is it at
It's
the
at Traverse
Travis
Connect.
Connect building?
Yep,
Okay,
the
right
morning
there.
ones are at Traverse
What a
Connect.
what a spot.
Oh,
It's
it's
too bad
beautiful.
all that construction right now,
Yeah,
but it's
it'll be
so
done soon.
it'll be done, it'll be better when
Yeah.
it's done. And it's right there looking over the
Oh,
bay. Ah,
I
what
always
a
joke with the Travers Connect staff when I'm in their offices. I'm like, you have horrible views up
yeah.
here, just looking right over the over the
It's
bay.
perfect for Traverse Connect to
Yeah,
be in that nice spot. What is Aspire North Realtors?
yeah.
What is that?
That's the Association of Realtors. So it used to be the Traverse Area Association of Realtors. It was TAR previously, and
Okay.
they rebranded a couple years ago, and so it's Aspire North Realtors now, and it's the Association of Realtors that covers, I believe, 5 counties as well. So yeah, I've been a part of that as well. As they call it an affiliate. As not a realtor member, I do have my real estate license, but I'm not under the real estate category because I just kind of parked that off to the side for now.
So you
Uh,
you come in through the mortgage
I'm in
angle?
as the mortgage, yep. And
Yeah.
then the Home Builders Association is also a member. So, yep, we try to really help with the housing side. If there's any issues with construction, we can come in as the Home Builders Association and say, hey, we've got the voice of the Michigan HBA, we've got the national HBA if needed. We can really help out on the housing front. And then the Association of Realtors has been amazing to make connections with realtors, the general public. They have great events. I was just there this morning. Women's Council Realtors hosts their haves and needs every
Well, that
Wednesday.
was the one I was going to ask you about next. I mean,
Yeah,
you're a member of all these very critical organizations. Tell us about your strategic alliance with the Women's
yeah,
Council of Realtors.
yeah. So I'm not on the board there. I've been asked before, but I've learned to say no. I love the organization, and I kind of help out on the back end. So I'm the greeter at the Women's Council of Realtors Has and Needs in the morning. So I hand out the tour sheets that has the list of homes that the agents tour. And I'm always helpful to say, hey, if you're new, chat with me. I'm by the door always. I just stand back there as people come in and throughout the meeting. So again, connecting people. It's in the Aspire North building, but it's a separate organization from Aspire North. So I also try to make that connection for people so they
Oh.
know that you can join Aspire North and Women's Council of Realtors, and it's a huge network of people. Again, the group there, just everybody jumps in, helps each other. It's really cool to see how everybody comes together, and if there's that real estate world is kind of a self-policing industry. I mean, there are laws, of course, but a lot of it is like, how are you doing this, or what are you doing to make this work, or can you finance this, or how's that work? And there's a lot of awesome conversation, and everybody comes in and helps each other. Even on paper, some of them are competitors.
Mm,
They're
mm.
multiple agents. Everybody's with a brokerage, but they're an independent contractor, and I mean, they're kind of in competition with each other. But when you come together at the meetings, it never feels that way.
That's
Everybody
awesome.
jumps in and helps, and it's great.
That's the Midwest and
Yeah,
Northern Michigan.
it's awesome.
I've been talking to people that come in from other areas and they're just blown away. Actually, yesterday at Oops, I was talking to a young man who recently came in from Las Vegas, and
Wow.
he was surprised at how giving and caring and
Yeah.
inclusive the Traverse City and Northern Michigan areas, and you're just proving that here
Yeah.
today with
Yeah.
our what is Prospectors Club?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Oh, what did we figure at the last meeting we talked about? It's like the 960 something consecutive meetings. So I think it started back in the 40s. Can't remember the exact year, but it's been around since the 40s. And it's a group of guys that get together once a month. We have dinner and then we give out scholarships to college kids and, well, high school kids going into college, I should
Gotcha.
say. Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's really cool. It's Leelanau County only. So you have to be a resident of the county, you have to own property in the county to become a member. You have to go to 4 meetings with a host before they
Mhm.
let you in. Then everybody votes you in. But it's really cool. In the summer months, we're at Miles Kimberly Park in Maple City, so we get to sit outside. We have Gabe's Meats is coming out, grilling out steak and chicken for us later this month.
Oh,
So it's really
fun.
cool. And then they opened it up last year for the first time to give scholarships to kids going into the skilled trades, which I
Oh,
love. It
yeah.
was right up my alley. I was like, oh,
It's
that's so cool.
that's so
And
cool.
yeah,
It reminds me of what I was always taught is charity begins at home.
yeah,
And you need to take care of your own. And it's so cool that you're taking care of your own
yeah,
right
yeah.
there in
It's
Leelanau
really cool.
County through the Prospectors Club. And what a cool name. I was thinking maybe you were like prospecting for Petoskey stones or
Oh yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah. There's a Chief Goldbricker is the one who runs the meetings. I'm not sure. I'll have to dive in a little more to that origin story of the naming and
The
where it came
name,
from. But
right? Right.
yeah, it's a really cool group.
And last but not least, Evergreen Community Group.
Yeah,
What
that
is
is a
that?
really cool one. So a guy named Jack Langford started it. Oh, I believe it was early 2020, and he realized with COVID that he was stuck at home, lonely, needed community. I think he had just kind of moved back to the area. Also, he was originally from Traverse City, but he started it as a hiking group, and he had just a hike and invited people out, and then he kept doing that, and he eventually, I think within like a month or two, he had 80 people on a hike at the Commons in Traverse. He was a little
Wow.
overwhelmed, but he loved it.
Did he drive attendance through Facebook groups or
Yeah,
something?
Facebook and just
Wow.
word of mouth. And so he, a year later, after starting it and realizing this is something awesome, he actually
Yeah.
turned it into a 501c3 nonprofit.
Oh my.
So yeah, it's really cool.
Wow.
And it's a community group. I jumped in a couple months ago on the board just to help out, and we rebuilt the website. So I helped with that through Solutions by Far and kind of helped them retailer their website. They had a website that was great, but they're like, hey, we can add some more and make it a little user friendly. And they've got an awesome newsletter, and it's just community events. They have a monthly potluck and they do other events,
Oh,
and it's really cool.
fantastic.
But yeah,
So what I'd like to do is in the show notes, I could put the URL
oh,
to some
absolutely.
of these
That'd be great.
organizations
Yeah, I
because
would love that.
everyone in the
Yeah.
Traverse City area will probably want to do a deeper dive
Yeah.
on
And you can
some of
always
those
reach out,
things.
if you want to learn more, or the audience listening, if you want to learn more, you can always give me a call. Happy to tell you about all of them
Yeah, I'll
or
put your
yeah,
details in the
yeah,
show notes, of
definitely.
course. And so, I obviously you love learning and you
I
love
do.
connecting with people, and obviously you are definitely doing that within all these organizations. And so when I look at all of the things that you're doing, I just think that you may end up as the mayor of something someday.
So that is one thing I know for a fact that I will not do.
You're not, he's not going to
I
do
when I became
politics.
yeah, it was, I think it was around 4 years ago or so, or not even, when I became the president of the Leon Chamber. I had a friend message me on Facebook and said, hey, I want to get into local government. How are you doing it? And I was like, whoa, whoa. That is one thing I have no desire to get into
No, a little bit
politics.
too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love community. I love people. I love business. But the politics side, I'm like, I know who to call. If we need to get in touch with a senator, a congressperson, I have their contacts. I can get in touch with them and we can get something done. But as far as me doing that, no, thank
Well,
you.
a
So
friend of mine used to break it down to poly, many, ticks. You
yeah,
get what I mean?
yep, yep. So
So
yeah,
it kind of brings out the not the greatest side of our our culture.
yeah,
So, but helping out organizations and people, it sounds like that's really where it's at.
yeah,
So tell us what's in the future for Brayton. Where do you see yourself, let's say in 18 to 24 months with,
yeah,
Solutions by Far?
yeah, yeah. So the biggest thing that I always think about is I rarely put myself first. One of my favorite quotes is, "A raising tide raises many ships."
Oh,
So I'm always about helping connect people, and I've found pretty much my entire life that if you build up other people, your business, yourself will grow with that. So that's my motivation, really. It's
I
just
can
to
see that.
keep that going, and it just works. I rarely quote unquote ask for the business. I just
Mhm.
say, hey, I can help, or I also know my strengths and my weaknesses. If I can't help, I'm like, here's a name, call them. Again, like building the house. I know the builders. I'm not going to build your house for you. So let me give you some names.
But I will
Uh,
tell you that the one time I sat down with him so far, and I hope there are many times we get to sit down, he recommended an awesome camera. He recommended some awesome content management solutions to me. He came up with some very good ideas regarding software that I could use that would help me out. So, and that was all gratis. So just
yeah,
a wonderful person to have on your board or committee, as well as having as a good friend.
yeah,
And I really appreciate that.
yeah,
So I want to turn it over to you a little bit. And is there anything, Brayton, that you'd like to discuss or get into
yeah,
today in today's contest we haven't touched
yeah.
on?
Yeah, I will say one of my biggest flaws. So my best friend, our families go back 3 or 4 generations in Northport. We grew up together, and she's an attorney. And we sat down when I was starting Solutions by Far, and the first thing she said, she asked me a question and asked for advice. She's like, "That's lesson one. Don't do anything for free." And I was like, that's probably one of my weaknesses. So
Oh,
trying to monetize Solutions by Far a little bit more and get that going. But it was funny when she said that to me. So yeah, as far as the growth of it, I really want to see it growing more and to help people and kind of be that missing link to those entrepreneurs, those solopreneurs, those maybe partnerships where they've got the awesome idea and they're like, I don't know how to get a custom email. I don't know how to make a website. I don't know how to get that off the ground. I don't know who to meet in the community. And I'd love to help and get that going. And then also growing the HBA membership and Genisys Mortgage and growing it all together. So that's my 12 to 18-month plan. It's just
that's a
growth of all of
fantastic
it.
growth,
Yeah.
right? So if I were to give you a case study that would be your ideal client, let me just
Yeah.
give it a shot.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to do this case study. So let's say I am a new business in Traverse City that has I've got this idea and I've got two people working with me right now, and we're really busy maybe getting our pitch deck together, trying to, get really busy and trying to get funding, but we're struggling in the areas of just setting up our office. We're struggling with where do we go for all of the things that you need. You need an attorney,
Yeah.
you need a accountant, you need to join certain organizations so that you're connected to the right people, whether it's, they probably know nothing of oops or who at the
Yeah.
chamber to talk to. So that's the case study.
Yeah.
And let's say someone says, hey, you got to meet Solutions by Far,
Yeah.
and they give you a call. Tell us what you would do to help these guys out.
Yeah. The biggest thing is I ask questions. Most of the time, if you meet with me, I'm not talking that much. I'm asking you questions, learning more about you and what you do, what's your background, what are your goals. It's not about me. I'm not driving your company. I'm not going to work there. I'm busy enough. So what are your goals and what is your company? What are you doing? And what do you want to see it look like? So, I'd start with probably, do you have a custom email? Do you have some kind of calendar scheduler? Because if you're meeting with attorneys, if you're meeting with chambers, if you're meeting with individuals, if you're meeting with financing, if you're
Hmm.
all of these people, that's going to consume a lot of your time. So how do you keep it organized? And one of the things I've always been super techy, but one of the things that 2020 really showed me is that I need to be able to work anywhere. Like I'm down here in Cadillac now. When I got down here, I was on my phone and I can do 99% of my job on my phone and I can do anything anywhere. And I don't necessarily have to have my laptop. I could drop my laptop outside in the parking lot and I can log into another laptop, go buy a new one or use somebody's temporarily, and I can operate. And that's huge. And for a growing business where you might be from Cadillac to Traverse City to maybe up to Petoskey, maybe you have to go to Grand Rapids for a meeting, you need to be able to be nimble enough to work anywhere.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
so that would be where I'd start is just kind of how do you organize it?
Yeah.
And some people are paper and pen, and that's fine too. But you want to make sure what's your system to make sure you take that with
Yeah.
you.
Okay. So now I have another case
Yeah.
study. The next case study is I'm a business in northern Michigan, and I have maybe 20 to 30 employees, and I've had a lot of turnover. And my new staff just seems to be not as productive as I would like them to be. You know, there were the days when we were more of a like we all kind of could finish each other's sentences, but now I have a new team, and how would and you know we're a bit disconnected.
Yeah.
Are there any tools that you know of that would help a, let's say, a second tier, a company that's
Yeah.
not a startup, but they've been around, but they need some to bring in some productivity and efficiency into the
Yeah.
workplace?
Yeah, at the HBA, we've used Microsoft Teams, which I absolutely love. You know, we have it on our phones, we've got it on all our computers. We can be at an event and we can use that to communicate. You can put event notes in there so you can organize things that way. If you have meetings, you can have all that in there. It shows your availability if you're open to chatting. Just some way to better communicate, especially in a company that size where you have 20 to 30 people. And my guess is in today's day and age, you probably have some people working remote too.
Mm.
How do you re-engage with those people and how do you stay connected with everyone? So that'd be the other thing. And if you're having a lot of turnover, there's some awesome job boards. Leelanau Chamber has a job board. Michigan Works is a great organization with a job board. That Traverse Connect job board, Michigan Creative Coast. You know, who are you telling that you're looking?
Oh.
And a couple of those have certain criteria to post the job where maybe
Mm.
they have a salary range or maybe they have certain criteria which maybe will help you get that little bit better employee that you've been looking for.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, I had one of our members of the Leelanau Chamber. He just kind of mentioned that to me off the cuff. We were talking, and he's like, "Oh, I've been so busy. We've had some turnover, and I'm like, "Hey, have you posted the job anywhere? Do you have it?" And he's like, "Yeah, we're using Indeed, but it kind of works and whatever." I'm like, "What about our local resources?" And he's like, "Oh, that's great." And then it's funny
Yeah.
enough, I happened to be looking for another friend at the Traverse Connect job board, and I saw his business listed
There
there.
you
So
go.
hopefully it
Yeah.
works. So yeah,
Right. There you go.
but
So what about the not-for-profit world?
yeah,
Is there because they there's a huge not-for-profit
mhm,
community. We've had a few on the podcast. How could how can you help them?
yeah. Almost all of the organizations that I volunteer in are not for profits.
Oh,
So yeah, that's really awesome. My actual employers are for profit, but and Solutions by far, but the volunteering aspect, a lot of those, I think almost all of them are nonprofits. So I like to help out in those organizations and maybe say, hey, have we thought about digitizing our minutes and our agendas and our
oh,
notes? And yeah,
right.
instead of paper and then somebody's toting around, a bag full of 20 years of documents to every meeting. And I'm like, well, A, what happens if you drop it in a puddle? And then B, that's a lot to tote around.
Yeah.
So, let's digitize this. And, I've done little seminars to show people how to better use Google or Microsoft and, get that more online. I will say to the 20, 30 person company, if they want me to help get them all in that online platform, it's a little bigger than my wheelhouse at the moment. So I have a network. Dave Eisner with One Call Networks is my go-to. I refer those people to him. He's
Okay.
amazing. He does the IT for the HBA. And if it's that scale and they want to say, hey, we want to launch new emails and do this and move platforms, I'm like, that's going to be a One Call Network. So here's his card. So
Wonderful. Well,
I
that's
know who to
like
connect to.
getting back to the connecting
Yep.
people part. And that's really what's important is that the clients and the folks out there get the
Yeah,
solution deployed.
exactly.
And I know that's the way you feel and think. So those are a very good aspiration for what's happening in the next 16 or 18 months or
Yeah.
so. Very cool.
Yeah.
Any other things that are happening in your world?
One of the other awesome events that the HBA is hosting is we're doing a clay shoot for the first time. It's actually going to be in Mesec, so down Wexford
Oh,
County. Yeah,
wow.
we're trying to branch down this way a little bit. It's on September 17th. So that's going to be really fun. It's at the Thundering Aspens, which is a private club. We've booked it for the entire day. We'll have 100 shooters. We'll have one of our members has a fishing charter and they have a mobile fish fries. We're going to have fresh fish for lunch and dinner. And it'll be really cool. So I'm
Wow,
really
I think
excited
I
for
want to
that.
start working in real estate. You guys seem to like have a lot of
They're a lot
fun.
of fun events. Yeah.
You guys really have
And we
it
also
have
do a
it
lot of
going
work too.
on. I
Yeah.
know you guys
So,
work 7 by 24
oh, it
every
never stops.
weekend. I know.
Yeah.
When I think about the poor weekend, I don't know when they get to. Well, that's probably why they have these events, so
Yeah.
they can finally have some
Yeah.
have some
Yeah,
fun.
that's
Is
where the
at
fun
the
comes in.
events.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wonderful. What
My
a great
girlfriend
event.
is awesome and super patient with that because when we first met, she realized how busy I am, but it works out perfect because she's kind of an introvert. So she kind of likes her at one time. So
That's
it
really
works out
cool.
perfect. But we
Yeah.
also make sure,
Well,
hey,
we need
let's
our
go.
partners
Yeah. Oh,
to
she's
support
amazing.
us.
She's the
Yes.
best.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah.
That's good to hear. Because we can't do it alone.
Yeah.
It takes
She just launched her own business, which we helped
really.
out on. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well,
she has a
maybe we
Reiki
need
business, Emerald Note.
Reiki. We'll
So
bring her on down to the
yeah.
podcast because that's
Yeah.
pretty innovative. And my son-in-law is Japanese, and I know Reiki's Japanese.
Yeah.
That's very
Oh,
cool.
very
Very,
cool.
very cool. Yeah, I'd love to meet her and
Yeah.
have her join us someday because I haven't had a anybody who does Reiki on the podcast
Very
yet.
cool.
So that is an area that we really
Yeah.
need to feel that
Yeah.
because we love innovation and we love business, but innovation is in all aspects of life, whether it's an author, a healer,
Yeah.
all sorts of different things.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. So I love your origin story,
Yeah.
living in northern Michigan and coming back up here to contribute, and what a big contribution. And so I really appreciate you being on the podcast
Yeah.
today.
Thanks for having
And
me.
you promised you'll come back
Oh yeah,
sometime.
definitely.
Have you come
Anytime.
back,
Yeah.
let's say in 6 to 12 months,
Sure.
and see how things went at those
Yeah.
events, and
Yeah.
maybe promote your February event.
Yeah.
So come
There'll be
back in
more, for
January or
sure.
something like that.
Yeah.
All right. And with that, Brayton, let's say
Okay.
bye.
Bye, everyone. Cool.